Hello and welcome to Daily Prelims Practice, where we take up the questions from the Hindu and the Indian Express and curate the question as per the demands of civil services prelims. The topics for the discussion have been listed on your screen. Now moving on to the first article of the day. The article has appeared in the Hindu on page 1 and basically talks about the Supreme Court of India and the collegium currendum that is currently happening. Now Supreme Court has been discussed extensively in the previous discussion, where we have seen the collegium system in detail. We have also analyzed the system of appointments and removal of Supreme Court judges. Along with that, we have also seen the questions related to National Judicial Appointment Commission. Now in this session, we'll try to understand and go a little deeper in the working of Supreme Court, since a question linked with the static part can be asked in the prelims examination. UPSC has previously also asked questions related to Supreme Court in depth, and such a question was seen in the year 2014, where it asked about the provision of increasing the number of judges in the Supreme Court. A practice question in this regard can be framed. The practice question says, consider the following statements regarding the Supreme Court. The first statement here is, the jurisdiction on matters under the state and concurrent list can be enlarged by Parliament alone. Now this statement is incorrect, as the jurisdiction on matters which are under the union list can be enlarged by the Parliament, but the matters under the state and the concurrent list can be enlarged by Parliament only with a special agreement with the states and not alone. Moving on to the second statement, it says it can transfer a case pending before a particular High Court to another High Court. Now this statement is correct, as Supreme Court has the power to transfer a case that is pending before a particular High Court to another High Court. The question further says choose the correct code, and as only statement 2 is correct, the correct answer for the given question will be option B. Further, the correct answer for the previous year question is also option B. Now moving on to the next article of the day that has also featured in the Hindu on page 11, basically talks about the city of Zahedan, which is located in Iran and is currently facing massive unrest due to the popular revolt led by the women of Iran. Now UPSC in the previous year has also asked questions related to various map location and the geographical locations that were in news that year, and such a question was also seen in the year 2022 only, when UPSC asked about the areas and the countries associated with them. A practice question thus in this regard can be framed, as UPSC has been asking about the various map locations. The practice question says consider the following pairs, region and the country associated. Now the first region given here is Zahedan, which is matched with Azerbaijan, and it is incorrect, as we have already seen in our explanation of the article that Zahedan is a city and the capital of Sistan Balochistan province of Iran. Now the city has been in a deadly crackdown since October 2022, with dozens of citizens have been killed by the pro-government forces. Moving on to the next region, it is Akwaya matched with Cameroon. Now this region is correctly matched, as Akwaya district is located in the southwest region of Cameroon, and there have been a long-running inter-ethnic conflict there. Moving on to the third pair, it matches Delaram with Iran. Now this is again incorrectly matched, as Delaram is a city in the northern part of Nimruz province in Afghanistan. Delaram is also in news because it is a major transportation center with several major roads converging on the area, including the Kandahar-Herat highway. The next region that is matched here is Nagorno-Karabakh with Armenia. Now this area is again incorrectly matched, as Nagorno-Karabakh is a mountainous and heavily forested area which is internationally recorded as a part of Azerbaijan. It was also in news some time ago due to the conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan over it. The question further says choose the correct code, and as only one pair is correctly matched, the correct answer for the given question will be option A. Further, the correct option for the previous year question is option B. In this question, we'll also try to understand and locate the cities on the map. Now we can see that Zahedan is located in Iran. Dilaram is located in southern Afghanistan. At the same time, we can see the countries that are surrounding Iran and Afghanistan. And we can also see that Afghanistan is a landlocked country here. Another thing which we can point out is the connectivity of Iran with Caspian Sea. From this slide, we can infer that Nagorno-Karabakh is an area which is located in Azerbaijan and is a conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan. These maps will help you remember better the locations. Moving on to the next article of the day that has featured in the Indian Express basically talks about the DIGIYARTA app which was launched recently by the government. Now the primary aim of the government is to ensure paperless entry at selected airports to make air travel hassle-free. Under this initiative, airports will use a facial recognition software that is called as DigiYatra for entry, and the passengers need not to carry their ID cards and the boarding pass. Passengers traveling from Air India, Vistara and Indigo on their domestic network can avail this facility at the airports. SpiceJet, Go First and Akasa Air are yet to offer the DigiYatra facility. Secondly, the initiative has been launched at 7 airports starting with Delhi, Bangalore and Varanasi for now, and then Hyderabad, Kolkata and Pune and Vijayawada by March would be included under the ambit. Now UPSC has been asking questions related to various government initiatives that have been introduced, and such a question was also seen in the year 2016. So a question regarding DigiYatra can very well be prepared in this regard. The practice question says, consider the following statements regarding DigiYatra. Now the first statement here is, it aims to make the travel process paperless and contactless. Now in our starting discussion, we have seen that the aim of DigiYatra is to make the travel process paperless and contactless. The second statement given here is, it requires Aadhaar based validation through DigiYatra app. Now this statement is also correct. As to avail the services, the passengers has to register on the DigiYatra app using the Aadhaar based validation and also a self-image capture. Moving on to the third statement, it says it is implemented by DigiYatra Foundation, a wholly owned subsidiary of Airport Authority of India. Now this statement is incorrect. The project, though is implemented by DigiYatra Foundation, it is a joint venture company whose shareholders are the Airports Authority of India, that is AAI, having 26% of shareholding, and Bangalore Airport, Delhi Airport, Hyderabad Airport, Mumbai Airport and Cochin Airport having rest 74% of equity divided equally between them. So statement 3 here is incorrect. The question further says choose the correct code, and as only statement 1 and 2 are correct, the correct code for the given question is option C. Further, moving on to the previous year question, the correct code for the previous year question is option D. Moving on to the next article that has featured in the Indian Express on page number 10, basically talks about the MLA-led funds and says that 272 crore rupees of MLA-led funds meant to be spent by legislator on the projects in their respective constituencies remains unspent and is about to lapse in Gujarat. Now UPSC has previously also asked questions related to MPLADS funds, and thus MLA-LADS and MP-LADS schemes becomes important in this respect. A practice question in this regard can be framed. The practice question says, with reference to members of parliament local area development scheme, consider the following statement. The first statement here is, the funds are directly released to the concerned MPs for developmental work. Now this statement is incorrect, as the MPLADS is a scheme formulated by Government of India in 1993 that enables the members of parliament to recommend developmental work in their constituencies with an emphasis on creating durable assets. Each MP is allocated rupees 5 crore per year and the funds are distributed to the district authorities and not to the concerned MP. Moving on to the second statement, it says the Rajya Sabha members of parliament can recommend works in one or more district in state from where he or she has been elected. Now this statement is correct, as elected members of Rajya Sabha representing the whole of the state as they do, may select works for implementation in one or more districts as they may choose. Moving on to the third statement, it says the nominated members of the Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha may select one or more district from any one state in the country for the implementation of their choice of work. Now the points mentioned about nominated members here. And this statement is also correct as nominated members of both Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha may select works for implementation in one or more districts anywhere in the country. Moving on to the fourth statement, it says the scheme is administered by Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs. Now this statement is incorrect as the scheme is being administered by Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation. The question for this says select the correct answer using the code given below, and as only statement 2 and 3 are correct, the correct code for the given question will be option B. Further, the correct code for the previous year question is option D. Moving on to the next article of the day that has appeared in the Indian Express on page 17, basically talks about the NPCI and the UPI market. Now the article tries to convey that the deadline has been extended and is a site of relief for the UPI payment market leaders, PhonePe and Google Pay, as the NPCI has extended a deadline for UPI to meet the market cap deadline of 30% to 31st December 2024. Now the PhonePe and Google Pay occupies the first and the second position as the market leaders, with PhonePe having a market share of 47% and Google Pay having a market share of 34% and followed by Paytm as the third biggest player. The benefit of having 30% as the market deadline would have benefited Paytm but would have significantly not in the favor of PhonePe or Google Pay. Now UPSC in the previous year has also asked questions related to UPI, and such a question was seen in year 2017, such that the practice question in this regard can be framed regarding the United Payment Interface. The practice question says, with respect to UPI, consider the following statements. The first statement here is UPI act as an intermediary between the bank accounts. Now this question is incorrect as UPI transaction is a direct bank-to-bank transfer, whereas the digital wallets act like intermediaries between the bank account. We can take the example of Paytm. Now it is an example of digital wallet and act as an intermediary between the bank accounts. The United Payment Interface, on the other hand, is a real-time payment system and is designed to enable peer-to-peer interbank transfers through a two-factor authentication process. Moving on to the second statement, it says it is a single window mobile payment system developed by the Reserve Bank of India. Now this statement is also incorrect as it is a single window payment system but is developed by the NPCI, that is National Payment Corporation of India, though the interface is regulated by the RBI. Moving on to the third statement, it says it eliminates the need to enter bank details or other sensitive information each time a customer initiates a transaction. Now this statement is correct as it eliminates the need to enter bank details or other sensitive information. A UPI uses virtual payment address, that is VPA, and identity, whereas digital wallets use the mobile number. The question further says which of the statement given above is or are correct, and as only statement 3 is correct, the correct code for the given question is option B. Further, the correct code for the previous year question is option A. Now moving on to the last question of the day that has appeared on the page 17 of the Indian Express, basically talks about the forex reserve situation in India, which is on a rise for the third week. Now Indian forex reserve has increased by $2.9 billion and has touched the mark of $550 billion. Now in our previous discussion, we have already seen the questions regarding the forex in detail. We will try to understand some of the basic nuances related to the forex reserve, as UPSC has been asking the very basic questions related to forex and its management in the previous year. And such a question was also seen in the year 2013, where it asks about which of the following group of items is included in the Indian foreign exchange reserves. A practice question in this regard can be framed. The practice question says, consider the following statements about India's forex reserve. The first statement given here is hike in interest rates by US Fed Reserve will negatively impact India's forex reserve. Now this statement is correct as when US Federal Reserve increases its interest rates, it will strengthen the US dollar and will weaken the Indian currency. Moving on to the second statement, it says increased investment by foreign portfolio investors in Indian stock will reduce the forex reserve. Now this statement is incorrect as the rise in investment in the foreign portfolio investors in Indian stocks and foreign direct investment help in increase the inflow of money in the country and also gives a boost to the forex reserve of the country. The third statement here says Union government is the custodian of India's forex reserve. Now this statement is again incorrect as it is not the Union government but the RBI which is the custodian of India's forex reserve and derives the legal power from the RBI Act of 1934 for the same purpose. The RBI is the custodian of country's foreign exchange reserve and is vested with the responsibility of managing their investment also. The question says select the correct answer using the code given below, and as only statement 1 is correct, the correct answer for the given question will be option A. Further, the correct answer for the previous year question will be option B.